Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Welcome to another episode of the Beast Files. I am Jeff831, and we're going to be talking about the Beast Games episode 4. And this was one of the most intense episodes yet for me and for my good friend Jeremy. And I'm sure everybody wants to go directly to Challenge 4, Helicopter 4, but let's go back to the beginning. And I promise you we'll get there, but I want to kind of set the table. So right now there's 148 people remaining. There's only 54 seats left to get on a helicopter. That means it's about 1 out of 3 people are going to make it to the coveted private island. But kind of before we get into it, Jeremy 991, welcome.
Thanks, man. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head when you're talking about this episode being just, man, it's emotionally charged. And for me, like watching this edit just flooded with all of these emotions again. And I know I can't wait to talk about this with you because I know we walked in this together. But let's go back even to the end of episode 3. We've got this helicopter pad that's been in the city from day one, which is just drawing everyone's attention. Like, it's a helicopter pad. You know, at some point in the games, there's going to be a helicopter coming, but we don't know why. And we're seeing on the billboard, Beast Island. You got Jimmy on this jet ski in the photo. But now it's come to reality. The first helicopter has landed, and literally Jimmy comes out with this huge gold package and gives away the first 6 passes to the island, and now there's only 9 more chances. And Jeff, you and I, we're still here. We didn't get picked on game 1, and now the first game is a scavenger hunt around this
Yeah,
huge city. And hundreds of us are running around like rabid raccoons, and people are flipping tables and ripping shrubbery. It
I
got
couldn't
real.
believe I obviously I lived it. I was going through the mailboxes. I was looking through the bushes. But like when I watched it on film today, I couldn't believe them flipping over the chess tables, scouring through the yoga mats. It was crazy. I mean, and again, the pressure is so high. There's 54 seats left. 100, right now there's 142 people. So it's like, oh my gosh, like who is going to make it? So I get why it was so emotionally charged is because people saw this as the next checkpoint. On the pillars, the first checkpoint was we got to get to the city. We got to do whatever we can to get to the city. We get to the city, now it's like we got to get to the island. So this was like we were looking at the island in the eyes, kind of going, okay, I need to make this happen. Or instead of going on a helicopter to the island, I'm going on a plane home.
Yeah, it was intense. I appreciated the zeal that people had for the scavenger hunt. Like literally full bar, just throwing the chess pieces around. I appreciated that. Again, I took a more modest approach, kind of like you, where I'm looking around and I'm thinking, if people are running around this excited, maybe they're gonna overlook something. So maybe I can do it a little bit slower and with some detail. And Misha, he won. He found it duct taped under the ping pong table, which was awesome. He made his choices and brought some, people with him. And then I didn't realize the amount of carnage at the time until they put us in our bunks. And then I'm like, all right, in my mind, they're restaging. Maybe they're cleaning up the city a little bit. They're hiding another golden ticket for us to do another scavenger hunt. I had fun with that. I thought a lot of people had fun with that. And just knowing that each challenge that goes, there's less and less seats. I figured the intensity of the scavenger hunt would grow. And honestly, I thought that there would be a few rounds where they would do multiple tickets.
I,
But
I think everybody expected that.
yeah, but sure enough, what do we know about the Beast Games? We know nothing, and we cannot predict what that next step is. So we come out, and I've realized how trash the city is because everything is still flipped over, and now we've got game number 3, which is again a super simple game. We get handed that red ball of doom, that ball that almost sent us home on
Hmm.
Tower 4 No Star. And we get these blindfolds, which I was honestly really impressed with the
Right.
blindfold. Like it's got like the tanning goggles in it that are all blacked out, and then it's got like the sleep mask. You could literally see nothing.
Yeah, it is. They are the like if anybody's ever trying to use blindfold, there's no reason you're not using those. Those are so good. You literally can't see a thing.
Oh, and the game was super simple. They line us all up, which takes a significant amount of time, and give us the ball, and they say, hold on to the ball until 10 minutes. Like count in your head and drop the ball closest to 10 minutes. And the six people that drop it closest to or exactly on that 10-minute mark will advance. Simple as that. You can drop the ball at any time. But if you're caught hanging on to the ball, you're eliminated. And they actually tried another version of this too, didn't they?
Yeah, no, initially they kind of lined us up where we did the potato sack races and gave us each an iPad and got us in lines. Um, but it was a hot day and a couple of those iPads overheated. So they realized, geez, we need to go to probably an analog plan B. Um, yeah, I think they said something to that extent too, that, hey, like we have an analog version of this game. Um, but it was one of these games where when I heard the rules, I'm like, oh, I'm pretty good at counting. Like I like numbers. But then when I realized that you'd get eliminated if you went over, and I kind of did the math. Okay, this is the third helicopter. That means there's still going to be kind of 42 seats left after this. Like it's just not worth it for me. So for
Yeah,
me,
what
like,
what level did you have like going in? Like I know you're saying like you kind of started to process it, but did that process of not holding the ball happen after it started, or were you pretty committed to not going to the 10-minute mark before it even began?
I mean, it was literally within the first minute. Like I was counting, and I'm like, you know what, this is not worth it. Like, because again, any competition, I want to win, I want to do well. So it's not like I didn't go into it giving up. But it was about a minute, and I go, you know what? I kept counting, and probably around 7 minutes is when I dropped mine.
Yeah, I feel like I went in with the idea that I was going to drop the ball. And same idea. This is the third helicopter. There's other games. Again, it's simple to say at home, anyone can count. But again, there's the adrenaline of it and then all kinds of other factors that come into play. But I did go in going, all right, I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna count. I'm not just gonna instantly set it down. I felt like that would have just been quitting too soon. Then I had a strategy. I'm holding the ball and just like literally like flexing every fingertip as it goes, and then just using that as my pattern. And I intentionally started fast, and then I realized like, oh man, you're way too fast. And then I just kind of gave up way early. I don't think I made it to the 5-minute mark before I dropped that ball. And when the timer went off, like there were some people that dropped it really, really close
Yeah.
to that 10-minute mark, right near me, like the high 900s. And then we have player 999, JMO, she's awesome. And
Yeah. So
we were like on that line of, did she drop it at the 10-minute mark or was it right after the timer? And to give you guys context, like literally, we've talked about it over and over again. The Beast Team does everything to a really high degree of accuracy where they want it to be completely fair. So the review process took a while. So we're standing there like wondering, like, all right, well, Jim was like, did I win or did I go home? And she was one of many.
we lost some good ones. We lost Cody,
Yeah.
460, Gary, 912, Jessica, I think she was 180 or 182. 180. Yeah, Moniz was 182. Yeah, we lost some good folks there. It was and it's just God, it was a hard one because you didn't have to play. Unless you're an amazing counter. But then again, like you, we'll go through the results. I mean, the six people that made it could have gone home if they held it for a half a second more.
Literally. Yeah, let's jump right into that. Like there was a lot of legends that went home. I mean, it's a lot of comments are saying like, I don't understand why people are crying when other people are leaving. I don't understand why people are crying when they're leaving. But again, you bond with these people in such a real way that you don't typically do in the real world over just a couple of days of hanging out. Like you're living together. It's these insane, highly emotional level of games that if you're not a part of it, it's kind of hard to explain. I think, there's some other people that, watch this that have been in some reality shows that can, kind of contest to that. I was chatting with the gentleman that was on The Amazing Race about it. And again, it's an intense bonding moment. So when you see those people leave, like, yeah, it's competition that's leaving, but it's more than competition leaving. It's your friend and their dreams being brought to an end. And for the folks that are being eliminated, it's their dream of $5 million. Like, the fact that we have this chance once in our lifetime is remarkable. This is literally something that will probably not ever happen again. When we talked about it the last episode, I'm probably never in my life ever going to have the opportunity to just simply tap a button and win $1 million ever again. And now these
Crazy.
people are sitting there going, we're not going to the island. We don't know what other adventures are there. We're not going to be able to continue this dream. We know that there's a chance to win this island. So there's that other opportunity to win a just life changing prize. So it was
And
hard.
I would even add, it's like most people, everybody's here to win. Like you wouldn't sign up if you didn't want to win. I'd say the vast majority, 99% of the people want to win. But it doesn't mean it's got to be at the expense of others. And it doesn't have to be at the expense of your values. And most people understand that if there's 1,000 contestants and only one winner, the likelihood of you winning is super slim. So people invest into relationships. Again, we have no technology, no phones, no internet, no concept of date, time, what's going on in the world. All we have is relationships. So we build great relationships. And cheers to the casting agency that cast some amazing folks, like really
Yeah.
good folks, all different walks of life. Um, so yeah, when people are crying, it's real. It's just and again, I think there is a lot of FOMO. It's who does not want to go to a private island? Like that definitely motivated me to make sure I got a ticket.
Yeah. And and I was beyond impressed with the results. Like, and before we get to the results, there was some drama, for sure. There was one of the players, 976, Daphne. She was on my rows for pillars. We are the 900s or the high 900s. And then she was actually with both of us on the yellow team for
Four
floor
four.
no four no star, and shows some true character. And she drops the ball. I don't know if she just lost count, um, but she played a different strategy than most people, and she started kind of stirring some chaos. She started counting 18, 17, 47, 56, and you just see the line just like shatter, and everyone
Yeah.
just getting discombobbled of just what it was like to try to be in that moment. But the six people that won, they all pretty much dropped the ball at exactly 10 minutes. Like, do you remember the order, Jeff?
Yeah. Yeah. Number six was Lyric. I think he was like a third of a second away.
And
Um,
let's talk about Lyric for a minute. Like, he hasn't got a lot of screen time.
895, stud of a guy.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
just one of the things that really stands out is I remember him talking about his family and his wife, and he's like, "I've been with my wife for 15 years, and guess what? I still like her." And that speaks to who Lyric is. And you hear him talk about his wife. It was really cool. So Lyric is just a stud.
And I mean, he's a fire chief, does some incredible stuff that way. And the way he won, he sung a country song in his head and then the national anthem. And you ask him, you're like, bro, that's so random. And he's like, yeah, my wife actually gave me a really hard time while other people were doing all of this other training. I was training for counting. So out of all of the stuff that he could be doing to prepare for the Beast Games, he hit the nail on the head,
He
and
just
it,
did
and it
counting.
paid out.
That's awesome.
All right,
Yeah.
who
So
got who was after Lyric?
Lyric led the way. I want to say it was Moniz, 182. Um, And then it was, I think maybe Jessica. I think the next few I don't know the order, but it was Jessica 703, Jordan 499,
Tim,
I, and Tim 672. I might be missing one, but
look at it.
like this was hands down the most impressive helicopter. Like I don't like most people can count, but to count like really seconds, 10 minutes while someone else is yelling while you're blindfolded with this pressure is just unbelievable. And to think that Tim 672, who's a stud, just a great guy, full of energy. So excited to see what 2025 brings for him, but he was a tenth of a second, a tenth of a second away. It was just awesome.
He's essentially a human clock at this stage, which
Crazy.
is just wild. And just like all these other challenges, now we have a reset period. And again, there's some grumblings, about what 976 did, but again, it's gameplay. So it was in um, fair bounds. She didn't cheat by any means, but not something that I think any of us loved. But she's shown so much true character throughout that she's not afraid to be who she is. So she played her game, and
And
that's the
and
cool thing with the Beast games is like everyone has the opportunity to play their own game at any stage.
and I think it allows me to see it differently watching it because yeah, at the time I remember that rubbed me the wrong way. But now I look at it and kind of go, oh, that's gameplay. It's like again, you a lot of people ask me or comment and say, hey, like it's you're trying to win $5 million. It's a game. You're right. You know what I mean? So like I didn't like it at the time, but looking back, it's kind of like, hey, fair game. It wasn't against the rules.
Yeah. So now we get reset, and now they gather us all around the helicopter pad. It's getting late in the day at this stage. We're late afternoon, early evening, so we only got a little bit of light left. And again, we're trying to get through these things, and they line us all up in a half circle around the helicopter pad. And this is where stuff got really crazy. And I'd love to let you explain, kind of how this went down.
Yeah, happy to. So this is challenge four of the helicopters. Helicopter number four, the gold coins. So there was 110 contestants left, 110 players. Each of them got a gold coin. And the rules of the game were at the end, we're going to set the timer for 10 minutes. And at the end of 10 minutes, if one contestant has 100 coins or more, they will get a ticket to the island plus five they can give away. If not, this helicopter goes off empty. So meaning your odds go from, I think right now it was like 38% to make it to the island to 32%. So like even if you think you're not going to get selected, it's like one of these things where it's just like, like Sophie's choice. I really feel like I need to give my coins to somebody. So, my mind's going like, oh gosh, like who are we going to pick? And before like I think the game even started, you hear 817 Queen go, Jeremy, Jeremy. And I literally was right next to her. And I'm like, yeah, Jeremy. And a lot of people started cheering, and again, like I look back at the first box that 406 Kareem got. And one of the people he chose was 830 Tawana and says, hey, you sacrifice. You turn down the $1 million for me. I'm going to bring you on board. Then you look at the second, the scavenger hunt, Misha 413. He chose Dino 380 and kind of goes, hey, you turned down the $1 million so I could be here. I'm going to choose you. And so part of me like understands that like there was this kind of reciprocity that people wanted to pay back the captains for turning down $1 million. Turning down $1 million is crazy. Like I still think about it. It's absolutely nuts. So we had a ton of consensus. I'd say immediately people start bringing you coins. And, I'd love to know what did you feel when you start hearing people, kind of cheer your name?
Man, it was overwhelming, because I never turned down the $1 million to, try to get a gameplay advantage, you know. And this is a really intense game, because this isn't as much of a challenge as much as a consensus and a gift. So I hear the chants, but I also can start to see some of the grumblings. And I'm just filled with gratitude and just ready to receive what the Lord has in store. And again, the fact that it was so overwhelming so soon, it was a lot. And then the timer starts, and then you just see this half circle just filter over where I had to step away, and like people are trying to hand them to me, but I've got nothing to put them in. And I'm like, I can't hold everything. And I'm trying to acknowledge and show gratitude towards the people giving me the coin, shaking their hands or giving me a hug and just saying, thank you so much. So I had to actually back up, and I went to like closer towards the ping pong table where there was a couple of chairs and a table. And I remember Blake actually talk about an absolute legend. He doesn't have a lot of screen time in this, but Blake is just an amazing, amazing man. He helped me out drastically. He's like, give me the coins, give me the coins. He saw the chaos and saw me trying to acknowledge people, and he starts grabbing them and stacking them. And it went really, really quick. Where all of a sudden I've got like 60 coins. Then I've got like 70 coins. And so many people are coming up and they're joyfully giving, like, oh, Jeremy, thank you so much. Here's your coin. I'm like, thank you. And then there are others that are giving you that coin and they're crying and they're begging and pleading, like, if I give you this, like, you need to take me, like, my story. And everybody has that purpose that they're there for. We all want to win. We're all there to win. And there's lives that we want to change and, people we want to help. So feeling the weight of that, like coin after coin after coin. And again, it wasn't a give me, like, it wasn't automatically like I got all the coins. And then the controversy kind of kicked up. I remember hitting like 85 coins, and all of a sudden it was like, okay, we've got 4 minutes left. And now I hear a lot of arguing, where before I'm just surrounded by so many people that I couldn't really tell what was going on. But in my heart, I knew that this was a game, if I won, that I did not have the luxury to freely pick who I wanted, and that this was going to be something that needed to be done in a different way. And earlier in the day, I'd had a contestant come up and she's like, hey, look, if I win a ticket, I want to show gratitude for you turning down the $1 million, and I want to bring you. And I'm like, well, I really appreciate that. You don't have to. She's like, well, and just do that in return. Like, if you win, bring me along. And they're a great person. I'm not going to name names, but it's just like I needed to be very honest with her. You know, I'm a Christian. I'm very open about that, and part of the way that I live my life is, I try to be above reproach when it comes to my relationship with my wife. She is the one and only lady of my heart and the lady of my life, and I am not going to find myself in a situation alone with another woman. I will gladly fellowship, but it is in a group setting, and it's not going to be alone. And it got put upon my heart that for me to choose, a helicopter full of women to take away would be disrespectful to my wife and our relationship. And that was a hard thing for people to understand. And now I'm at 85 coins, and there's some people that don't like me. I get that. I'm not everybody likes me. I'm a weird dude. I get it. But now the rumor of, oh, Jeremy's not taking women, he hates women, is spreading like wildfire. And that's where
Yeah,
stuff got really crazy.
it was super interesting. And kind of, thank you for sharing that about you and your wife. And it's like, yeah, again, like the last thing I would want to do is to give a ticket to like take someone to a private island. That just, it sounds a little risque anyway. But I appreciate you sharing that perspective. And it was going around. You could hear it. And then you would hear people kind of go like it went from kind of the respect for the wife to, oh, he doesn't like women. And it's like, wait, what are you talking about? Like this is are are we talking about the same person? So I remember spending most of my time talking to people about the odds. My thing was we need to get people on this helicopter. So I didn't spend a ton of time trying to convince people that you were the right person. I wanted them to realize that the coins had to go to somebody. Um, and again, when I kind of looked up and I heard you had like, I think at the time I heard you had 70, it's like there's no way you're going back. Like you're not going to, unless you gave them to somebody, um, someone else isn't going to get them. And I honestly didn't know when that clock was ticking down almost to zero. I didn't know if you were going to get it.
It got intense, those last few minutes. And a lot of people are, coming up in a very confrontational way, asking, how are you going to decide? How are you going to decide? And, I answered it the way I've played this entire game. And I said, I'm going to pray about it. And that's how I live my life. So why am I going to do it differently from a game? Um, and again, I knew this was a heavy situation. I didn't have the luxury to pick who I would just want to pick, but I knew I needed to seek counsel on that. And other people started getting vocal, and it's cool to see the show because when you're in the moment, again, I'm in this little corner. I'm surrounded by all kinds of people and all the chaos, and I'm seeing a lot of people that are advocating and playing a game as well, even if they weren't in like, hey, I'm pro Jeremy. It's like, look, kind of the game that you were playing. It's like, guys, if we don't give a coin, all everybody's odds are less. If one person wins, well, there's a chance that you can get on the helicopter. um but then I'm loud. I'm a loud guy. I stand out, and I've been bold about my faith. And as you can see, there's a lot of people that really didn't like that. And the way the edit shows it really makes it look like a large group of people were just like, literally, it says in the show, creeped out by me. And I would say in majority that's not the case. And I think the fact that so many people were so freely willing to give me the coins, and the character I've shown through the rest of the show kind of dictates that. But it's easy to get caught up into that edit of the few that were being very vocal about that. And again, I respect them for sharing their opinion. I was never once trying to shove my beliefs down people's throats, but I love Jesus, and I know what he's done in my life. And I know the only reason I was where I was in the game was because of Jesus. And I wasn't about to deny my Lord because of some pressure, because my eternal gift is in heaven. That $5 million, man, I'm still fighting for it. It's like I am here to win this game, but my true prize is in heaven. So it comes down to the wire. 40 seconds left, 30 seconds left. People are running over. Some people are kind of begrudgingly giving me coins, and I'm feeling the weight getting heavier and heavier and heavier. And now Jimmy comes and brings me a bag, a black bag. And he's like, put all the
Yeah.
coins in here. The timer is up. The moment of truth. I just remember, again, still just being flooded with gratitude and love and just a broken heart already. I just remember just taking off my hat. Just, I don't know why, but it's just like, man, just, I'm so grateful. And I just remember trying to tell everybody that I'm here to love you guys, and I'm here to just share that with you and be with you in the valleys and to be with you in the mountaintops, and to be that support. um and then we count the coins, and there's 103 coins out of 110. And that's the
I,
moment
I
where it like really hit me of how heavy that was.
and I do want to set the tone just a little bit. This is dusk. We all kind of know now that this is going to be the last challenge of the night. There are 42 seats left to go to the island. After this, there will be 36. If you don't get onto this helicopter, you're going back to the bunk and you're going, am I going to make it? So the tensions are so high. And, it's one of these things where, psychologically, it'd be great to have a shrink kind of talk to us about it. But like, people are used to you sacrificing for them. Like that was their experience from turning down the $1 million challenge. Um, and I think it was just a different experience for when you went into kind of how you chose. But I'd love for you to kind of get into that now, and then we can talk about it more.
Well, and that sacrifice thing, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I don't know how many people I even told this to, but I was in tremendous prayer about doing that. And someone is, asking early on, like, are you willing to give your coins to someone else? And at that stage, it's like there's not time to process. So my goal was no, let's collect 100 coins and then we can determine. Now we know there's a helicopter. If halfway through I give 70 coins away, it doesn't mean that that person's going to be able to rally those other 30 coins in that amount of time. But I'm getting there, and I'm wondering if I'm gonna keep a ticket myself. And
Wow. This is the first I'm hearing this.
yeah, and just instantly go into prayer. And I remember Jimmy telling me, like, look, you've only got a little bit of time. Like, game rules are like legally, you only have this much time. Otherwise, you're not gonna make it. Like, no one's gonna go. You have, I can't remember how much time, but it was not a lot of time. And I remember asking for the mic because I felt that pressure. And as I'm praying about it, I felt led to seek counsel. In my spiritual life, it's if stuff's heavy, you bring other people in that you truly trust. You don't try to carry it all on yourself. And that's the way I viewed it. So I saw Gage, and Gage was in the cube with me. And again, it's hard to come across in this edit like how crazy that 5 hours is, but that's true trauma bonding. Like, look up trauma bonding, it's a thing. Gage and I got really, really close. And then you. And again, like, you were my first choice, but I saw Gage first, and my heart was like, I have to pick Gage. And I knew I had to bring Gage along because I trust him. And then you and I, we've been tight since Vegas. And I didn't bring you because we're friends. I brought you because I respect you as an honest man of integrity. And I knew that I could have you by my side in this heavy moment to be able to help carry this burden with me. And I wanted to be able to help continue your journey for this healing for your son.
Mhm.
And as you guys know that you've seen the show, and this wasn't done on any other helicopter, I stopped right there and I gave Gage a ticket and I gave you a ticket. And at this stage, the women were screaming before I got the tokens. And I did submit to saying, yes, I will make sure I'll at least bring a woman. I didn't say a lot of women, but I picked two people that I was close with. The reason I picked two men is because what I said before. You two were men that I'd spent a lot of time in fellowship with, in private, deep conversation with, and didn't do that with women. I didn't have that opportunity to, get super deep in conversation with women in that way. Same idea to respect my wife, but the one-on-one conversations we'd had and the one-on-one conversations Gage and I'd had. Um, and I think I told you this the night of it, but there was a huge part of me that literally almost gave you all the tickets. What did you think first off when I got the coins? Did you think you were going to get picked?
Um,
Eh, eh,
I did because again, like I think you and I were close. So I mean, I was confident um, that I would be on that helicopter with you. But then again, like I understand, like I know you well enough that your processes are unique, and it's one of the reasons why I love you. And so, like again, like it's one of these things where even if you didn't pick me, I wouldn't have like I would have been like, okay, like this is your way. And again, I think it helps that I know you very well. So I was confident. I did not expect what you did. And it was one of these things where when Gage and I get tickets and now they're kind of saying, hey, you guys choose. Again, the timer is kind of on us. Like it's not like I have a ton of time to huddle up and kind of go, hey, so wait, what's your vision here? What are you trying to do? Um, and so for me, I had a kind of a there was two people who I was really close with, and one was Patrick 930, and one was Maddie 852. Like there's a few if I had more tickets, like there's a few others that were part of our alliance that were really close, but like Maddie became a really dear friend. She's a mother of four, devoted mom, and like so her and I just kind of really connected as parents. And Patrick was the first guy I met in Vegas. Like literally brought me into his group and said, "Hey, this is Jeff. This is a story. He's gonna be part of us." And like I didn't know anybody. Like I'm a silver-haired 40 something guy. Like, you know, in Vegas with a bunch of young people who like I was out of place to a degree. And Patrick brought me in, and it's like for me it was, crystal clear this will be one of them. So when you said here's your ticket to choose. Like, I mean, like if you watch the episode, I mean, I look stressed. Like I look like I haven't slept in a while because I was going, oh my gosh, like who do I choose? Like this is tough. So I went with the person who first chose me, and I it hurt. It was one of the it was the weirdest challenge of the day so far. Where other ones where people were excited, this one was somber, kind of through and through.
Really was. And I want to explain why I gave you guys tickets. And you can contest to this and share your thoughts on it. But I gave you guys both tickets to add a level of what I thought would be fair. I thought if I was not the only one choosing, that it would add to that level of randomality. But I wanted to pick people that I trusted, to pick people of good caliber to come along, people that they thought deserved to come. I didn't tell you anything. I didn't say, Jeff, pick one of our friends. Jeff, pick a woman. Jeff, pick someone random. I gave you that ticket to make your own free will choice. And I did the
Yeah.
same thing with Gage. And Gage picked David. I can't remember his number off the top of my head, but
858.
guy's really cool. Looks like Willy Wonka, just a stud. Uh, I'd never met him. And again, to me, when I see that, I'm like, that's awesome. I trusted Gage. Gage trusts this guy. And I haven't met him before. So that level of randomality worked. Full transparency, Patrick, he is a friend of mine as well. And there was a part of me that, felt comfort, bringing another friend. Patrick is a really great guy. He really is. And he loves the game. Like he plays it harder than anybody. Like he is
I
a
don't know
survival
anybody.
super fan.
I don't know anybody who played the games harder or
So
better.
for him to continue through was awesome. But as I'm giving you guys those tickets to choose, I'm still in prayer because I'm going to be real. Like, slightly to my dismay, I did not want to influence your guys' choices, but I'd said that we will bring a woman along, and you guys didn't. You didn't pick a woman. And a lot of people have been on a Reddit, AMA all day, answering questions for people. And I'm seeing a lot of people saying, "Oh, you just picked your two friends to pick two more of your friends," and that couldn't be further from the truth. I gave them free will to choose whoever they would like, and I wanted to honor my word. And as I'm there, I'm on my knees praying because it's so loud. The tensions are so high. The aggression, we're feeling it heavy. There's an accordion player just throwing so much hate my way, and I'm just trying to shield it away and just to seek comfort from the Lord. And He puts, love and grace upon my heart. And I see Daphne. When I'm praying, I see that as that person to demonstrate that love and that grace with. And I know earlier in the episode, in this video, she's been kind of villainized, for playing the game. And again, I don't agree with that gameplay. That's not the way I've played this game.
And so,
Um,
Jeremy, did you know that at the time? Like when you
yes,
chose her, you knew it was
yes,
her. Wow.
I knew it was her. Um, I knew Daphne had sabotaged because she was just a few people away from me. She was like 20, well, not even 20 people away. So I could look down the line. And when she counted, I even came up to her. I was like, "Come on, you trying to mess me up?" She's like, "You already dropped your ball." And she was right. I already did. So she was tracking, even blindfolded, of like the people that were in her immediate surrounding. But her and I weren't super close, but we'd seen each other. Like I said, we were on yellow together. We'd, bonded through that. And I saw true character there where she was bold and, stood up for people. And um I wanted to show her the love and grace that the Lord had shown me daily. to leave the 99. And again, a lot of people are like, out of all the people, why would you choose her? Why wouldn't I choose her? She's just as deserving as everyone else. And I understand that, a lot of the women were like, you need to choose women, you need to choose women. But I also feel that was an unnecessary amount of pressure to put on that situation. I don't honestly think it was a fair ask, but I made a request and I tried to find a compromise of not taking a bunch of women. I said I would pick one, picked two gentlemen I trusted, and you guys didn't pick a woman. So I held to my word and I chose who I felt like the Lord led me to choose. And again, I would do it again. And I
Well,
know that wasn't the popular opinion, but I strongly stand by it.
well, what's crazy about that is I was on the same. I had a similar feeling as everybody else. I was like, Daphne, like what is going? Like, does he not know? But obviously, you shared why. And again, like Gage, I didn't know who Gage 974 was at this time. I'd never met him. So 858 David, 974 Gage, I'd never met. I only knew Daphne because, Daphne's vocal and authentic. So when you really think about it, out of those six people on that helicopter, I knew you and Patrick.
Yeah. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't know. They watch that episode and they think that, there's four bros and some random person leaving. But again, as far as that random factor goes, it was very random. uh Gage and I, like I said, I was in a bunch of different environments. I never hung out with the same group of people the entire time. Like I didn't just hang out with the same group of people the entire time. Anytime we're in the city, I'd be hanging out with a friend group and we'd be laughing, joking, eating, sharing a meal together, and then I would go off and do my own thing and hang out with some other people and pray with some other people and do a study over here and over there, and trying to just get to know as many people as I could and bond with folks. And, again, you and Gage are just two men of the same cloth in my mind. And again, as it comes to Daphne, she's loud, she's controversial in this episode, but she's real.
Yeah.
And again, I wanted to show her that grace. Um, there was a few other people that, looking back, there's so many people that I would love to have brought. And if I would have won a game, like if I won the ticket for the scavenger hunt, I feel like that's something I earned. And I feel like that's something where I could have freely given. And I would have picked five different people. Well, I would have picked three different people. Um, but I stand by the way this went. Like I would have loved to bring, Maddie. I would have loved
Yeah.
to bring Queen. Just the list is so big. I would have loved to bring another
Yeah.
60 people.
It was one of these things where like I think the rest of the other five of us in the helicopter were like, why what's going on? Like why is the mood so somber? But you definitely felt it. Like you felt the weight of it before we did. And it was again, it was late at night. Everybody goes back to their bunks to go to bed with just 36 seats left. I mean, the energy was so tense. Everybody wanted to go to the island. And it was I did not expect that outcome. I did not expect those feelings.
It was interesting. Like you said, I did feel it instantly. Like my heart was filleted. Like I was so emotional. Like we get into the chopper and I know you guys are excited, but I remember not trying to be a buzzkill, but just trying to make the moment real, just like I have the whole game. As we're here in celebration, like there's all of these people outside of this helicopter right now filled with hate, filled with anger, filled with sadness, brokenhearted. And I just remember crying. And again, a lot of people are calling this fake, but no, I seek the Lord and I join us together in prayer where I'm sitting there ugly crying in the front seat of this super nice helicopter when I'm supposed to be so excited, nasty crying in my hands and praying, like, but I felt it. And my heart broke for the people that were there. I knew that there were people throwing hate at me, but my heart is broken for them. And watching this show, that emotion still comes back. the people that think that I'm hiding behind this false persona and this shield. And man, I just want to love on them. I just want to grab them and give them a hug and be like, no, like I love you. And that's all I'm trying to share.
And it's hard because, like, again, if you fast forward through the episode, and we'll talk about the other helicopter challenges, but they takes us to the island, and it takes us to a place where we realize that 9 people are going to compete for it, and the rest of the 651 are get to hang out for several days. We really get to know each other. We really get to have fellowship. And like, again, now I look back and look at the people who didn't make it and kind of go, wow, I could have gotten to know them really well. So it's like I totally get why people were so tense and so kind of heated about this because the stakes were so high.
Yeah. And like I said, I can't blame anybody for their emotions. You know what I mean? And I think there's some people that may have said things differently, you know, at this moment, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that stand by what they said and how they feel about me and the decisions I make. But again, I stand by what I did. And yeah, I would continue to stand firm in the Lord. But that trip to the island, it still wasn't a super joyous one. I was grateful to go through, and the the travel was nice. You know, as we're traveling to the island, you know, we were all heading on the same plane together. We had a very short period of time um, before we traveled. We actually had that night in a hotel because there was still more games to be played. And I just remember that was the first time to have true solitude and to be in the word and just continuing to pray for these people. And um, it was nice to be able to watch how everything went because, you know, let's talk about Maddie and Brennan again. Like Brennan, we haven't mentioned him much. 7-Eleven, like, man, such an amazing guy and been homies since Vegas and just so grateful to know him. And he was one that we left behind. My heart went out for Ozzy and Nelly. So many people I was heartbroken were there. But the next challenge gave people a chance to, you know, still go on. There's still 6 helicopters. So we weren't helicopter 9 or 10 leaving everyone behind. So we knew that more would come and we're still kind of waiting to see who's going to make it. And even hearing about the challenges in travel, it still doesn't do it justice. Like I heard about the ball. Did you realize how big that glass ball was?
No, I had no clue.
The
I
challenge is you're in rows of 6 and you have a pedestal with a big glass ball on it and you've got to balance it. And the goal is to pass it down the line and pass it back. If you drop it and it shatters, you lose. You touch it, you lose and you're out. You have no chance. But there's also a stipulation where the last 3 teams, if everyone drops their glass ball, the last 3 teams to have the glass ball floating on a pedestal or balanced on a pedestal advance. And Brennan and Maddie team up, and they team up with some people they don't know super well. And come to find out, Brennan's got this really kind of quirky thing that in high school he just practiced balancing random junk.
Yeah, like umbrellas or broomsticks or you name it. That's what he would do. So he's like, I got this.
And to watch the edit back, you see him. You know, he's holding that, and you're watching glass ball after glass ball shatter as people are trying to pass it through. And then the strategy comes into some of these people like, whoa, 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 whoa. And now they come to the realization there's only 4 or 5, maybe 6 rows left. And they decide just to balance the thing.
And the timer here is 30 minutes. So this isn't 10 minutes. Like Brennan did this for 30 minutes. And I think Akira did too.
Yeah. And
Akira
Jamal.
539. Yeah, and Jamal. I mean, yeah. So this is and I love again, this is a challenge we did not see in person. You know, we heard all about it once they made it through, but when you watch like Brennan and Akira, like that's like Akira was so proud to be able to take his friends on a helicopter. Like those were the helicopter rides that looked very enjoyable.
Yeah, totally different feeling from ours. And it was interesting because that was the first game where multiple helicopters left. Where in our mind we're like, hey, there's a golden ticket per game, so there's going to be 10 games. Nope. Glass balls come along, and now all of a sudden 3 helicopters leave. And Akira, by the way, like he is amazing.
Yeah.
He is such a good guy. Like he is so nice. He is so kind. He's so thoughtful, and he is a tremendous competitor.
Yeah.
And him and our buddy Cody are Mr. Beast OGs. Like they've been in more Mr. Beast videos than anybody. I think Cody might have one on Akira, but I don't know. Or it might be opposite. Akira might have another video on Cody, but either way, they've been through this a whole bunch. They understand the adrenaline. They understand the process of what it feels like to lose, and his heart is there. So for me to watch him bring that victory was so great. And
It
Jamal
was
is
awesome.
just a physical specimen.
I know.
Like
I know. Yeah, it's
I
like there's nothing Jamal can't do. Um, a beautiful thing about Akira too is that whatever he says, like if he says something to you, consider it done. Like he is a man of his word, and he says stuff and he kind of puts it into action. And Brennan, I mean, like I remember when I saw Maddie and I realized she made it through and like gave her a big hug and she goes, "You're not gonna believe Brennan what he did," and it's just a total 7-Eleven thing, you know, and you'll see that. Um, in the coming episode. Just a special, special guy.
yeah, he's amazing. So happy that he made it. And again, with Jamal going, Nelly and Ozzy, they advanced as well, and it just filled my heart every time we're seeing these people. Matthew 803 made it through eventually in some of the other games, and just really, man, there was just so many good people at this stage that wanted to be there. Um, Again, Jeff and I weren't in these challenges, and our goal of this video is to talk about what it was like and what we were feeling during some of these times. So we're going to kind of just breeze through some of
But
these other challenges because we weren't there in those moments.
we weren't, but I do want to call out Julie 696 because she got the ball closest to the briefcase. She was on floor 4 with us for No Star,
Yeah,
and she runs an awesome kind of dog nonprofit, and she loves her animals. And I just remember it just when I saw her, I was super excited. I was really excited for her to be there. And then on the last one, like it was so fun to watch 817 Queen, you know, where she thinks she's kind of self-sacrificing and she makes it over there and they tell her, no, 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 you got a ticket. And she is losing her mind. And just also another person from For No Star. So it's like, you know, it's just neat to see these people who we thought we were going home, and then the next thing you know, they're doing awesome stuff to continue to press forward.
and Queen is just one of those remarkable people. I mean, she's loud when she needs to be. She's kind, she's sweet, but she's also honest and straightforward. She's not afraid to back down from a conversation or a confrontation. She's willing to say what she needs to do it, but she doesn't do it in a mean way. She does it with love. Like
Correct.
she's just such a phenomenal person. And watching this video back and seeing right away, she's just like, look, if this is a sacrifice, y'all, I got you. That's her heart. You know what I
And
mean? And I can't gush enough about Team Yellow. Like
no,
again, Jordan made it through, Tim made it through. Like,
Alan,
bro, so many amazing people were on
Matthew,
that. And I'm still getting messages like you should have just eliminated them, or you should have taken the $1 million and
yeah,
just given them all a little bit of money. And I'm like, man, I know it's a game, but that's not the same. Now we're sitting here watching their game unfold because they had the chance to continue.
and just to close the loop on Queen 817, like she had some brilliant game timing, like her ability to kind of think through things and quickly act. Like it just like I always looked at her. I'm like, you're a genius. Like she had some phenomenal game timing, and just that combined with a big heart made her fun to play with.
Yeah, I was grateful she advanced to that next round. and some of the games were brutal. And then next thing you know, we're on a plane to get on a bus to get on a boat to get on another boat. Some intense travel time, and it was pretty epic. I don't know if they say in the video, do they say where the island is?
Yeah, well, they showed the deed. They showed the deed and it says Panama.
Okay, yeah. So we go to Panama, which was awesome, and we go through Panama City, and going out on this boat for hours to
Like,
get to
yeah,
this remote island.
going
Hours.
past the Panama Canal. And again, like, yeah, like most of us think, okay, we just took a long flight. We're going to be on a boat for a little bit. We are on a boat for, what was it, 4 hours more?
And it must have been at least two. But again, we went from the plane to a bus where we're on the bus for over an hour and a half. And then we're on the boat the next day, which was incredible. And again, I've been to Panama before, which was kind of cool. And but to come back in this context was just wild. And now we're on this just big cargo type ship, which is nice. Not like the cargo freight, but it's just got this wide open bed, and we're all in it like cattle. And it rolls up to this private island or floats up to this private island, and the tailgate just goes kadoosh, and we all run off. I remember running around the island all excited, and then I see a hermit crab, a big one. I remember picking it up, carrying it around. Carl stole it from me. He's like, "Oh, that's my friend." I was like, "Dude, get out of here! It's my
It probably,
crab."
and it probably was his friend that he had
I
for
know
days,
he did
Carl.
have another little like sand pile dug out with another hermit crab in it. I love Carl.
But
Ever
it's
since I
so,
screamed in his face, we're
you're
on
close, you're
on
tight.
tag. We're good now.
But what's
But
so fun about the island is, people are going and they get on and you see people playing ping pong and having fun. And then there are other people who are like exploring, kind of going, okay, are there clues here? Well, there's only 10 beds. That's weird. Like there's 60 of us. So it's, again, you want to have fun. You're in Panama, but most people know we're still playing a game.
yep. And then that decision comes, and let's talk about this as we wrap up, you know, episode 4 of the Beast Games here. We get a chance where they tell us like, look, only 10 people can compete for it. And we're going to go down the line in the order that the helicopters landed. So, whoever was the winner of the ticket, and then everyone that came through, winner of the ticket, everyone that came through, all the way through. And if there's more than 10 people, we're going to put names in a hat and we're going to draw until there's, the 10 people that are competing for it. I, early on, like when I saw the 10 beds, there's also a map in the hut or whatever on the island, and it showed other locations on the island. In my mind, I don't think we've talked about this much, but I we haven't even talked once about the polar bear guard stuff. I get a lot of questions about that, but we're not going to get into deep depth with that. But I'm a dude that loves the wilderness. I love being out in the middle of nowhere. And when I saw that map, I'm like, man, people are going to have a chance to compete for this luxury, and then the rest are going to go off into the boonies. So
Yeah.
I determined in my heart, like, nope, I'm going to go into the boonies with people. I want to get in the middle of this forest with a hatchet. I want to build a shelter. I want to be sparking a fire with the flint, and I want to be living out in the woods in this island. And I'm not competing for this. So when the deed came, that's what was already on my heart, and I decided that I wasn't going to compromise that. And in the next episode, I do have to talk to you about how some of that played through, but you're going to have to wait for the next episode to for me to further explain. But I want to know, what was your thought? Like, how
Yeah. No,
quickly
I
did you
mean,
decide?
I mean, I've said it once, I'll say it 1,000 times. I'm a numbers guy, so I was always crunching numbers. Okay, so we were at 148, now we're at 60. There's 10. That means if I don't play, I'm in the top 50. That means I have a 2% chance of winning. Like, so like in my mind, I'm going, and do I really want a private island? Like, am I really like, that's a long flight from where I live. So for me, I'm a competitor. I love to compete. But I just did the odds and said, you know what? Like, man, top 50, I'll take it. I don't know what's next. I don't know what challenges we're going to have to do if we're not competing for the island. Um, but I'm going to take my chances.
Do you think it was interesting with the island? You know, everyone looks at it like, well, you've got a 10% chance for a $1.8 million island. And we all know that you can take the cash. We all know that. A lot of people are talking about, they would keep the island and stuff like that. But again, long flight, crazy amount of expenses and taxes and all that. But what we also have zero idea about with the island is we don't know how many challenges that you're going to need to go through to win that island. Like, is there three challenges? Is there four
Yeah.
challenges? Is there 10 challenges? How are they narrowing it down to the one? So I was kind of on that line with you where it's like, let's make the top 50, let's advance, try to use this quote unquote vacation to literally recharge and to just take in these moments. And again, for my foolishness, I don't regret it at all, but I just got a tattoo that can't get wet. And now we're in Panama
I didn't
on
even
these
think about that.
beaches and we have to jump on and off these boats all throughout the day. Just getting onto the island and back off the island to go. Like, I'm submerging that tattoo in salt water. It's like,
Can't do it. No, I didn't even think about that. That's hysterical. Yeah, it's but when everybody was choosing in, it was exciting, man. It was just I didn't. It was not the group of 10. I think it was nine that I expected to choose in. It was awesome. Like I was just so excited. I love Brennan's play. I really have to go to the bathroom. Well, there's a bathroom on the island, and he just walks in, like
I'm in.
total 7-Eleven.
Yeah, I was so proud because he was just so confident, so confirmed, so happy to be there, and I really can't wait to watch that episode because there's so much that we weren't able to see. But I think there's a lot of fun stuff that we were able to experience on that retreat that may not make the show that I'm excited to
Oh,
share with people next week.
and I think we had a unique perspective of watching people try to win the island. So we'll definitely get into that next week. Thanks for tuning in to Beast Files episode 4. This was a unique one, an intense one. Any parting words from you, Jeremy 991?
Man, I just want to thank everybody that has been supportive in the comments for Jeff and I and this podcast or reaction video, and just want to say, please leave some questions and cordial comments. And if there's things that you would like us to answer, please put it in there. And we're also talking about bringing some other people on later in the season. So if there are fan favorites that you have, you're like, oh my gosh, I want to hear more from Queen or Tim or Brennan or Maddie or some of these people, please just let us know. And, you know, we're going to keep at this thing.
Awesome. Signing off. We'll see you soon.